Hello, I'm James Spencer, founder of Spencer Artist Development, located in Long Beach, California. I'm a professional voiceover, voice acting, and dialect coach, and for more than 40 years, I've helped performers develop their voices, acting skills, and professional careers. If your voice is your instrument, then protecting it isn't optional. A pianist can replace broken piano strings. A singer can't simply replace a vocal fold. And for the voice actor, your voice is part of your professional livelihood. So today I'm going to share some of the practices I recommend for maintaining a healthy, reliable, responsive professional voice. Hydration. Hydration comes first. Let's begin with the simplest one. Hydration. Your body and therefore your vocal system needs adequate fluid intake. I personally make a point of drinking water throughout the day. Up to usual day for me is 8 to 12 glasses of water and approximately room temperature when I'm preparing to record. You can also make hydration more interesting and healthy by infusing it. Sometimes I do spa water with lemon, cucumber, fresh mint. Sometimes I'll add a little watermelon and basil or other, fruit infused waters. The important thing isn't creating a magic recipe, it's simply drinking enough fluid consistently throughout the day. And remember that hydration is a whole body process. You don't suddenly hydrate your vocal folds 5 minutes before a recording session. Make it part of your daily routine. If you prefer very cold drinks, you don't necessarily need to eliminate them from vocal health, but if cold beverages makes your throat feel uncomfortable before recording, room temperature drinks may be more comfortable. Know your own instrument. Pay attention to your air. Your voice begins with breath, so what you're breathing matters. If you record at home, consider the quality of the air in your studio. Smoke, dust, pollen, cat dander, fragrances, chemical cleaners, and other airborne irritants can be problematic for most people. Avoid those, I despise them, those, plug-in air fresheners. They're toxic, they're cancer-causing. Avoid smoke, avoid secondhand smoke. And if you're particularly sensitive to airborne particles, an appropriate air filtration system in your workspace may be helpful. You can see my HEPA filter on the floor over there by my cabinet. I always have that on. If your city and state allows for, the ozone air filters, I actually prefer them. People say, oh my God, ozone is bad for you. Actually, unless you're right in front of it all day long, ozone can penetrate into the walls. It can kill mold. It gets rid of junk. And so I'm all for that. Also, another thing people forget is use good water filtration in your home. Do not drink, water from plastic. You're drinking plastic. You're drinking toxins. You want to remineralize your water, so I recommend a good, 4 to 5 point filtration on your water with remineralization. Also, your shower, do you have filtration on your water? All of that tap water that has chlorines, leads goes into your scalp. So not good. So go natural, okay? I also prefer cruelty-free, natural, vegan cleaning products whenever practical, and so forth. The principle is simple. Create clean, comfortable recording environment. Be aware of what dries or irritates you. Just to give you an example, today's my long day. I started teaching at 6 this morning. It is now 6:30 at night and my voice is fine. Why? Because I hydrate, I take breaks, I do breath work, okay? You should never be losing your voice and hurting your voice and getting hoarse. If you are, you're probably not also projecting correctly. Remember, air, hair. Yawning in the front of the mouth. If you're talking all day on the back of your throat like this, yeah, you're going to get laryngitis. Okay, you're going to get scratchy. So pay attention. Okay. Also, watch what you eat, what you drink. I prefer plant-based diet. I avoid dairy. I avoid animal carcass. I don't do, I do gluten-free. I do natural. I tend to not eat out much. I make things here organic at home. I am almost never sick. In fact, in absolute truth, I have not taken Western medical in nearly 20 years. Yes, I'll get a cold. I take natural herbs, I do acupuncture, I do cupping, I do red light therapy, I do halotherapy, which is salt rooms. There's natural things you can do that will help your body come into balance. Obviously, if you currently aren't on medications for whatever, don't just get off them. Check with your doctor, but you can also seek out holistic doctors and get others' opinion and do research. Every person's different. I had one lady who had severe chicken pox in her 20s. And every time she gets stressed, she used to break out with horrible canker sores in her mouth that would affect her ability to do voiceover. And we found out that there were some natural things she did, red marine algae and acupuncture and detox. She pulled it out of her body. She never got that again. She also learned that, when your body is more alkaline and not overly acidic, those things tend to not happen. So she started to eat more antioxidants, more greens, instead of just going and grabbing McDonald's or whatever. Okay, so those are just my my beliefs. Okay, move your body. That's important. Voice actors need to spend enormous time sitting. You're editing, you're writing, you're in the studio, you're recording. So move. Are you flexible? Are you stretching? We're doing a lot of typing, so our body wants to do this. What does that do? It collapses our lungs. We need to do opening, okay? And just to let you know, I'm 58, but you can see how open I am, right? Okay? So I sometimes get kids that are like 14 and 15 and they can barely move their bodies. They're lugging their backpacks. They're slouching like this all day on the couch. So your posture is very important as well for voiceover. How you can have a comfortable chair. You can see like my chair here has lumbar and neck support, so I can relax and sit back and be supported. But that's important that you're sitting properly when you're working in voiceover. So important. I can't stress it enough. So I also say, do some kind of cardio. You don't need that much, 15 to 20 minutes of brisk walk, going up and down stairs, swimming, rowing, dancing, playing some sports, whatever you're into. But you got to do some. It's amazing to me. I'll get a lot of voiceover artists that are working are in the studio all day. Then they forget to exercise. Their muscles get stiff. All of a sudden, they're having backaches, migraines, problems, and now they have to cancel work. Not smart, okay? So you want to work on your general physical health. Develop your breath. I recommend gentle yoga breathing. I do several breath exercises. One is alternate nostril breathing. One is called Kapalabhati, or breath of fire, to strengthen your energy. Hatha breathing. Bikram breath, and Wim Hof. And you can look these up online. You just go to YouTube and type in, breath exercises. There's a guy I like. His name is, I think, Kataro Waga. He does Wim Hof breath. I do those every morning. Starting your day with breath can energize you and keep your voice feeling great. So much so that I do breath for almost 1 hour every morning. I only need 5 to 6 hours sleep, and I have plenty of energy without caffeine. Yes, I do like tea. I'll have, 1 or 2 cups of tea a day, but I don't need to go drink Red Bulls and, drink soft drinks to try to bring my energy up, okay? So that, how is your energy? Check that. And if you're conking out, if you're having to take naps, if you're oversleeping, your body is not healthy, so health is so important. Okay, rest your voice. This one is incredibly important. Sometimes it's just good to be silent and not talk. Rest your jaw. You'll see with a lot of voiceover artists, we use our jaw a lot. So you'll see these muscles along the face here in our jaw get bigger because we're using these muscles. But you have to, ask yourself, does it hurt? Is it relaxed? Can I open, or is my jaw tight? Do I have TMJ? Okay. These are very important things. Also important, your dental health. People forget that. So, are you brushing your teeth every day? Are you using a good electric brush? Are you flossing twice a day? Gargling, they call it coconut oil pulling, but gargling and swishing coconut oil in your mouth pulls out toxins. It kills gingivitis. Okay, it's going to help your gums stay healthy. It will whiten your teeth. It does all these great things. Okay, I do that regularly. I was born, interestingly enough, with teeth that had bad roots, and I was told you're probably going to lose a lot of your teeth. Well, yes, I do have some crowns in the back and some root canals, but like this tooth right here, they told me I would lose it 20 years ago. It grew back root, believe it or not, because I take care of my teeth. And that's important. Like, you don't want to be recording and then all of a sudden you need $6,000 worth of dental work. That's going to affect how you sound. Okay, so that's important. Don't scream. There's ways of screaming for voiceover that doesn't hurt the voice, and I'll go over that in another video. What about phlegm? Okay, so it happens to everyone. Like right now we know about the horrendous fires up in Canada, and all my students that are in northern US states are having, like, oh my God, the respiratory, there's just smoke in the air. It's terrible. So I'm like, one thing that clears it is apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar and water will flush the system. Eating pineapple can get rid of phlegm. Drinking cold pressed grapefruit juice gets rid of phlegm. Using antiviral foods daily. Ginger, turmeric, garlic, onions. Okay, these are all really good for keeping your nasal and your lungs and your sinuses and throat good. Okay. But I would distinguish between, the foods that feel soothing and those that are medically proven to treat your vocal disorders. That's important. There are specific foods and herbs that can heal stuff up. One thing, like if you have asthma, okay, or you get wheezing during hay fever season, thyme, you can put in hot water, brew it into a tea. It stops asthma and wheezing. Okay, there's natural things you can learn to have in your house, so you're not spending, in the Western medical system, ridiculous money on pharmaceutical that doesn't fix the problem. I get a little angry with this myself. I have to be honest, because when I was a kid, I had very severe asthma. I had allergies. The doctors were like, you got to be on Ventolin inhaler and cortisone and steroids and all this crap, right? Not one of those doctors ever talked to me about simple things I can do in my diet and what I was doing to eliminate that. Luckily, when I was in high school, I had a friend named Anita who was vegan, and she started teaching me that. I got rid of dairy, and I didn't become completely vegan. I still ate some turkey and, fish. What was interesting is just that alone stopped my asthma. I got off all my meds, okay? And then it took me a few more years to become completely plant-based vegan, but it cured a lot of my health things, and try it yourself. Do the research, and so forth. So very good. Complementary practices. One thing that's really good, massage. You can get, you can have mysofacial to open everything up here. Acupuncture, I really believe in. Facial cranial massage. I do red light therapy or, infrared sauna, can relax your muscles, relax your face, detox you. Halotherapy is great, which is, halotherapy, by the way, is sea salt rooms, or sometimes Himalayan pink salt rooms. And you can sit in there and breathe, and they put a little bit of a saline mist into those rooms clears your sinuses, drains the junk out of your eustachian tubes. You feel great. And sometimes if I have to go into a studio to record, like over a weekend, I'm doing, my God, 20 or more hours of work, I might go do that before, and then I feel great, and I'm not, tired. Okay, so those are some important things. Okay, be careful with products and remedies. There are, like one thing I like is called Dr. Tishner's mouthwash. You can get it at Walgreens. It has peppermint oil. It has arnica. So if you get laryngitis, that's one of my tricks. You take a little cup of that, whatever, the little cap, half with that and half with water, gargle. Do that maybe 2 or 3 times a day. Your voice will come right back. It gets rid of that stuck in the throat. It can clear stuff. It gets rid of inflammation. One of the best natural remedies I know. There are specific Chinese herbs. You're going to want to go to a professional acupuncturist, Chinese herbalist that are specific for different things. For example, during COVID, I didn't get any vaccinations. In fact, I had 2 friends that got the vaccinations and died. So I did biliatong and some natural herbs. Never got sick. Okay, so, but what's sad is in America we're not taught this, so you want to do this research. The reason why I'm being really strong today on my opinions here is I've seen so many voiceover artists suffer just because they have never been taught what to eat, what habits to do. I had one client who was a chain smoker. I said, it's going to catch up with you. Stop, and got emphysema, lost his career, So, again, I really want you to succeed. And it's very, very important that these little routines you do that are so simple, hydrate, move your body, breathe, air filter, warm-ups, practicing your vocal placement, eating right, getting enough sleep, meditation, all these will create a long career. I want you to be doing voiceover well into your 90s, right? That's the dream. How many people in the world get to do their passion for for their career? I wake up in the morning every day and I feel so thankful that I get to work from home where I love in my nice environment, working with amazing people doing what I love. 20-hour week, and I make right now too. I'm so fortunate. I worked as a university professor, working 60-hour weeks. I make triple the money in literally 2/3 less of the time. And I teach people how to do this, how to live the dream, how to do your dream. If you love animation, that you're passionate about it, if you do these things, you're going to have an incredible career working from home, working for your dream company like Disney, Pixar, doing audiobooks, creating this fabulous creative career that you love compared to people that go to the 9 to 5 jobs they hate. And usually when people come to me, that's one reason why they come to me. They think, oh, I've been told I have a nice voice and I want to get out of what I'm doing. What are you doing? I'm working at Walmart for minimum wage. I work 3 shifts at Starbucks. Well, sure, I don't want to put down anybody's job, but, if you have a choice to do your passion, wouldn't that be better for you, to do something that's creative and fun where you call all the shots than, oh, I have to get up in the morning and get on the freeway and go to a job I hate so I can barely just get by and pay my bills. So, part of when you feel good and you have passion for what you're doing, ding, you're like a magnet for all the good things in life. Okay? It's really true. I learned this the hard way. In my younger years, I suffered. I have to go to the job. I have to just kind of pay the bills. And I was miserable. I was sick. And I got out of that rat race, healed up my life, okay, healed up my body, and doing my dream now, okay? And you can too. Okay, so I'm James Spencer, and where I teach, again, professional voice acting, voiceover, dialects, vocal performance. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you would like to work with me and you're a U.S. resident, I usually work with 18 and older. Occasionally I take about 14 and up, just depending on things, and you can reach me from my website, or my phone number is at the end of this video. I do offer a complimentary phone consult. We can talk about your needs, talk a little bit about the industry, and get you started. I'm letting you know, as of now, this is summer of 2026. We're coming into fall soon. We're at the and stuff. And so I book up really quickly, but if you call and I'm booked, I also have other teachers that are affiliated with that could take you and so forth. I can get you hooked up. Okay? Thank you so much. See you next video.